Hello, I'm OPX Toycat, and now that we've all had our hands on the final version of the Nether update for a couple of weeks, I've personally beaten the game a few times, I've played it on my long-term survival world, and I've done a bunch of challenges within the Nether. Now seems like the perfect time to talk about this update and give it a retrospective as to how good of an update it really is. Is Minecraft going in the right direction, or is it going in the wrong direction? This is something we can tell by looking at the Nether update and talking about something which is easy to do, the good and the bad. I think pretty much anything in the world can be defined as to what people really like and really hate, and that's how we're going to be defining the Nether update with the 5 best and worst things about it, assuming of course we ignore the emotes and just talk about cross-platform features, because this update was the first one to properly release between both platforms. That was great, and I think the best thing about this update was perhaps the ruin portals it adds to the overworld. These seem like a really small thing that you'll only encounter on a few new worlds, but to a new Minecraft player these are such a big deal, because when you run into a ruin portal you finally have the idea that, like, wait a minute, I think that's a way to go to the Nether. If you don't know about the Nether portals, they make it really obvious. If you see one, it might not be so clear, but when you see enough of them, you start to realize that there's a clear design here, and once you look in the chest nearby, what do you find? Wow, you find some flint and steel, maybe a fire charge, something that indicates that maybe you should try these things together. I think all the new experiences that people are going to be able to have where they for the first time go to the Nether of their own volition is going to be delightful, but even if we ignore the new player experience, as an existing player, I love these ruin portals because it's a great way to find golden carrots. It's a great way to find all sorts of loot just while I'm on the way to something else. It rewards exploration in a really weird way that personally I appreciate. I think the overworld is definitely lacking on exploration, and this gave it a little bit of a bump in the right direction, which is delightful because it also gave the Nether a bit of an update in the exploration department, which is where my first hate is going to have to come in, because here's the deal. This Nether update adds 4 new biomes, and that sounds really great on the surface. Yeah, there are 5 biomes in the Nether now instead of 1. That sounds like a 500% increase in the amount of things to explore, and it's better than the 4 biomes they were originally planning, but I do think that 5 is just far too few to have in the Nether. If you compare it to the overworld, where there's something like 60 plus biomes, and even once we remove the technical variants, it's still 23 unique different biomes plus 5 ocean biomes to explore and give a look at. 5 biomes in the Nether means that you can find all of them within a few hundred blocks of any spawn ever, and that my biggest problem is not just the fact that it's easy to find the 5 existing ones, it's that there's no rare biome. All 5 biomes are roughly equally as rare as each other. We need to have some more rare biome, or some form of biome you can only find if you know what you're looking for, something to reward and encourage exploration in the Nether, because right now looking for all the 5 biomes can be kind of dangerous. A lot of players are going to be put off by that, but I really feel like you need to have something that encourages you to explore and hunt the nooks and crannies of your Nether to try and find some form of rare block item or something else like that, because right now we just have ancient debris, which is in all biomes, we have bastions, which are in all but 1 biomes, and then we have the 5 biomes, which, like I mentioned, are very easy to find. I mean, even when you look at the Minecraft menu screen itself, you can find 4 of the biomes, and it's just kind of a shame to me that we had this brand new exploration of the Nether update, but it didn't really give you many reasons to explore biome-wise. I think that for speedrunning it's great, for new runs it's great, for all these sorts of things it's great, but for long-term survival worlds, I would say the reasons to go into the Nether get roughly the same as the list was before after just a little bit of exploration, but maybe that's just my bias showing through here. So let's talk about another thing that I love about this update. What do I love? I love striders. I mean, just look at their faces. Look at this guy's face and tell me this wasn't the best feature in this update. This was a seriously good stride forward for Minecraft, because in theory you can use them in the overworld, you can use them to get around the Nether, and it means there's kind of like a Nether boat alternative. Really delightful, wonderful thing that it's hard to say anything negative about, and one more time, aren't they just adorable? Things that aren't adorable though are the piglins spawning everywhere on the old Nethers. I think piglins are a great idea for a mob. I mean, you can barter with them, it's delightful. They'll avoid you if you're wearing gold, but I think the spawn rates of them are super high. Of course, on Bedrock that's a thing, but I also think them spawning in the Nether waste, so they spawn in 2 of the 5 biomes, is just too much. They spawn in 2 biomes, they spawn in a structure, and there's just too many piglins. I have so many piglin encounters in the Nether where I'm just annoyed, and I personally think that for the base survival player, outside of finding ender pearls to go to your first like go to the end, and outside of the fire resistance potions, and again there is a bug where you can still get netherite hose in Bedrock, but outside of those 3 things maybe, they just don't have the greatest of use. I like that there's this kind of ecosystem going on with the Crimson Forest where the the hoglins are hunted by the piglins, but I don't think the piglins should spawn outside of those forests, or maybe I'm just entirely in the wrong here. But personally, I just kill them. They're annoying. They're not really a great addition. Whereas every other Nether mob is like seriously fearsome. The piglins are just like, oh yeah, yeah, they're here. Let me get rid of them. And personally, I don't like that, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should be talking about things I like the new wood types. It has seriously been 7 years since Minecraft added a new type of planks to the game, and I think that's a great shame because wood is one of the most basic building blocks in Minecraft, and to take the kind of twist on wood and making it not so basic, you have to go to the Nether, find the specific biomes. I really like that. I think they both also look really great. There's the warp wood, there's the crimson wood. They both look really wonderful, and also they can be used to craft crafting tables. They can be used to make slabs, stairs, buttons, fences, all the other delights, and it's wonderful, right? Well, that moves us into our next hate, because the new Nether wood is technically a Nether stem block, and at first I thought, oh yeah, that's just a way to differentiate it, make it kind of higher end in that way, but there is a key difference between stem and between wood that isn't obvious to most players. Most players look at it and they see Nether wood, and that's mostly fine until you realize that you can't make certain things that you can make with wood that you can with the stem. It's very few and far between, so you'll just notice this one day that, for instance, there is a wood, wood buttons for all 8 wood types, but there isn't bolts for all 8 wood types. You can only use overworld wood for certain crafting recipes, and again, you won't know it till you find it, which is very frustrating by itself, but it's more frustrating when you realize you also can't use the Nether wood in furnaces. This could be argued as a great thematic fit. I mean, I'm not in love with the concept anyway, but you could argue at least there's some real benefit because, I mean, it's Nether wood. Of course it can't burn, so you can't use that in a furnace, but just like me, after someone insults one of my Minecraft builds, the reason that all falls apart is because the Nether wood can be crafted straight into sticks and used in a furnace anyway, which means the only restrictions that exist, bolts and, fuel particularly, are both kind of bypassable, and neither of them make any sense. Why don't we just have a warped boat, and why don't we just have a, crimson boat, and then you can treat them like overworld boats if you want to. You can let them be used in the Nether lava if you want to. I mean, obviously that would replace the Strider, so maybe don't make them fireproof, just make them fire resistant. They won't burn under most circumstances. They have a really low burn ability, or they can catch fire, but they won't ever burn to the ground, like crafting tables and stuff. There were so many ways they could have done that, but they chose a lore explanation which only confuses the players and is only going to cause question marks about why is there a wood type for everything, except for when it comes to boats and when it comes to putting things in furnaces, unless you use that same wood to make a shovel, in which case it's fine, and unless you use that same wood to make sticks. Again, it's just kind of a flaw in the Minecraft logic, and I personally think in the opposite way of how they made this new wood in Minecraft. I think whoever came up with that idea should be fired. Am I right? Anyway, I think this is a great opportunity to talk about how there's a delightful new surviving in the Nether possibility. This is one of my loves of this update. The fact that you can do so many fun things exclusively in the Nether. The number of people who have done Nether only challenges, myself included, it's a delight. You can go to this brand new dimension and you can choose to never go back if you really don't want to. And I'm sure there are some people who are going to be living in the Nether exclusively for a very long time to come. I think the addition of Blackstone as a way to, a stone alternative is really great, although pro tip, it comes with the same downsides of not being entirely like stone. And I think a lot of the decisions they made in this update were with the purpose of making it possible to live in the Nether, and you don't really appreciate them until you dive into them, but it means making a house in the Nether is entirely second nature, is entirely possible, and I love that as a option, which I'm totally gonna start maybe using in the future. So speaking of things I'm maybe gonna use in the Nether, I'm not gonna add Nether Fortress to this list because Nether Fortresses have existed since literally, the game's completion in 2011, and sadly they haven't really been updated since, and this update was a perfect time to make the Nether Fortress a more consequential structure, add some more rooms to it, make it a more fun place, but sadly they left it alone. I think that was a big shame, and it's one of my big hates of this update. There is one structure from the previous Nether that you could have updated. I mean, you could have made a whole fresh new Nether, but instead they decided to keep the Nether Fortress, which may be familiarity reasons, but I just think it would have been so much better to update this fortress, make it more fun, add some new rooms so it feels a bit old and a bit new, and since it's the only way to get iron or diamonds in the Nether, the 2 tiers above stone, it just makes me question why they didn't update it, give it a new world, make some new rooms to kind of celebrate that fact, or at the very least they could have added a new way to find iron and diamonds that weren't in this structure. But as it stands right now, you need to raid an absurd number of these if you want to make a smithing table, if you want to make a set of diamond armor, and maybe that's intentional. Maybe the Nether's not meant to be the best place to find diamonds, but I also think that there could have been some small solace given, but there was none. And you know what? The only thing that really makes it any amount better is the fact that there is now Netherite in Minecraft. This is the big, we never expected it to happen, and I'm shocked that it did, but there is a brand new tier of Minecraft gear. It's finally here, and let me be clear, you don't need to say oh dear, because these tools have no peer. So I love the fact that they finally decided to update the tools after all this time. I really love, the kind of quest to upgrade your stuff. If you were really, really big in Minecraft, you upgraded all your stuff within a couple of hours, but the fact that even the most veteran Minecraft players needed a couple of hours to do that is kind of fun. There's a lot of people right now that are still working towards that Netherite armor, and moving the goalpost higher as to what to aspire to in Minecraft is a really good idea. Something that Minecraft focuses on that I don't really mind is there's a lot of early game content they're always adding to make the fresh game experience for new players even better and better and better, but I think it's always important to also add things for players to aspire towards, things that you think one day I'm going to have that. I think it's an important part of life, the universe, and something more important than both Minecraft, to have things to aspire to, things that you look at and say, I would like that right now. And obviously this is a lesson outside of Minecraft, but it's one inside of the game too, that people need to have things to look towards and aim above. It seems like a great shame that you don't have all the things that you want in the world right now. It can seem like a bigger shame when you look at other people and the things they want in the world right now they do not have, but I think the much more important thing than making everything available right this moment for everyone right now is to make everything attainable via whatever steps it has to be. When you work towards anything, anyone has experienced this, right? It feels so much better than if it suddenly pops into your lap, and that's why Netherite gear, which you might see first in a YouTube video, or you might see first in just the, whatever snapshot video or snapshot release, or you might see it first just because someone's playing around with one of your friends. But when you see that, you're like, I want to go get this, and you learn that it's a really grueling process that involves getting some diamond stuff, maybe even enchanting it first, then going mining in the Nether, hoping you find some ancient debris. There are faster ways using beds, but even that is a whole nightmare. Then you have to take this back, you have to smelt it, you have to get some gold as well, by the way. Then you have to combine these things together in a smithing table, and then you can upgrade one piece of gear. If you want to upgrade all of your tiers, you need 36 ancient debris, and I love that they made mining a real part of Minecraft. It's weird that the only place you actually have to mine in Minecraft now is the Nether, but I love it, and I hope they do more things like this. I hope there are more, when they have an ore update for the overworld, cave update. I hope when we see an update like that, I really, want to see that they add new ores that are exclusively obtainable in that way, and this is just one of the most positive signs I've seen for Minecraft, because Minecraft is two things. I'll give you a clue for one of them. It's crafting. What do you think the other half of the game title is? It's called Minecraft, but how many cave updates have we seen? Not very many, and I think that having some form of cave update here in Minecraft, and especially on Bedrock where there are actually Nether caves now, is really delightful. And you might be thinking, Toycat, did you take a few minutes from the video again to talk to us about why we need a cave update? And I would like to say that no, that's not what you saw right now. I'm gonna now ask your permission. Hey, would you like to speak to my Lord and Savior, the cave update? And I'm gonna quickly just tell you why we need a cave update in Minecraft. We need this that we've seen in the Nether, but we need that bigger and better, and we need it in the overworld. We need the underground of Minecraft to be just as exciting as they made the oceans in 1.13, as they made the villages in 1.14, as they made the Nether now in 1.16. All of these features are really far away, and they're fun mechanics to play around with, but the most important thing that needs to be updated is right beneath our feet the entire time, and that is why 1.17 needs to be a cave update. Thank you for listening to that. But the last downside of this update, as much as I wanted to make it, it's not a cave update. I've resisted. You're welcome. I'm so lovely that way. But instead, I'd like to mention that the worst thing about this update is that there's no sub-biome variants. Again, if you're only going to have 5 major biome variants, and sure, maybe for simplicity, maybe they're just really hard to add, that's the thing they had to do. I think it is crucially important to have sub-biomes like we see in the overworld. There are massive hill versions of certain biomes. There are, bamboo versions of the jungle. We see all these different sub-biome variants. Even if you don't want to add a rare type, I think it's important to have like, oh yeah, this is a warp forest with super tall trees, like the birch forest M biome. Look at it. It looks wacky, right? How many of these have you seen? Not many, but when you do see one of these, it looks great in the overworld, and when you see one of these in the Nether, it should look great as well. Even if they can't do things like that or like the Mega Tiger biome, there should at least be some, more differences between the existing biomes, and again, some way to split up the Nether more so you can use your knowledge about the game to work out, for instance, where more Netherite should spawn. Netherite, ancient debris is just hidden underneath every chunk. It'd be nice if it was everywhere, but it spawned maybe at 1.5 times incidence only in the warped forest because the Enderman can't move it around, but they can move everything else. I don't know what logic you want to use. Maybe it's way more common in the Soul Sand Valley in exchange for the risk you take there, or the basalt deltas is like crushing everything down, and therefore, ancient debris is, there too. There's so many ways you could have taken it, but instead, we just have a system where there's 5 biomes. They're all pretty much the same. There's no real variance of them. And I think that it's going to be a long time till we see a Nether update again. And that's why it's a shame we missed those big 5 things. Those are my 5 hates. Those are my 5 loves. What do you love and hate about this update? The only acceptable comment down below is, it is not a cave update. Why didn't they make it a cave update? I would have loved it if it was a cave update. And I love the parts of it that were a cave update, but I wish them more if it was a cave update. Please do let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you don't use the word cave update, I'll remove your comment. Am I being serious right now? You're not. Try me. Find out. You might think that I have to respect your free speech, but no, YouTube comments are not a form of free speech. This is a dictatorship. I can remove your comments whatever I want, and if I want to do it for not just saying cave update, maybe that's a thing I do. Maybe it's not. You know what? You're gonna have to learn that one the hard way. But no, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then you know what? Do things that YouTubers tell you in the videos to do. I hear that subscribe button's nice. You know, wouldn't you like to see that number next to my name go up by a tiny fraction of a subscriber? Yeah, I bet you would. Would you like to hit those bells so you see more of my videos? Because as a YouTuber, I live and die based on whether you watch my videos. I hope you want to do that. And anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.